Hello everybody, Andrew Hutchings here, and this video is about how foreign students who aren't me are reacting to what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, considering that we're in Belarus, borders both of those countries, sort of involved in it, not really. I said I would have I don't remember if I said specifically that I would upload a video chat of me and my friend in Kiev. Internet's too bad for video chat. His video is still, he recorded a video just of himself, still trying to send to me. But yeah, so I don't plan on leaving. Like, my mother was just telling me how US Embassy here is apparently closed, and I said, okay, it doesn't really matter at all, because if something did happen, I wouldn't expect the embassy to save me or something. Like, that's fantasy. US government doesn't save you if there's an emergency in some country where you are. They don't even save you if there's an emergency back home in the United States. Like, perhaps you saw or heard about the apartment buildings in Florida that came down. They didn't mobilize some emergency response to, like, within one day lift up all the rubble and save the people. No, I don't remember how long it took, but yeah, they didn't save the people, and that was on US soil. Afghanistan, you saw what happened. I mean, probably you saw what happened there. They didn't save the people, but also, I don't think there's any need for saving here. I know, I'm going to talk about how other students are reacting. I guess I'll just say how they're reacting, then I'll say why I'm reacting differently. So other students, they all want to do online class and get out of here. Despite there being no available flights and borders to, like, Poland and Lithuania aren't really open, they want to try to go to, like, Poland or Lithuania. But as of now, the school is not allowing for online classes. No real reason to, like, in my opinion, although, like, why not? But here, by law, you have to go to school, not do it online. And I know for Belarusian citizens, at least in the summer, the border to Poland was closed. And I'm assuming now it's even more closed. Same with the Lithuanian border. I don't know about the Latvian border, probably the same situation. I know that people with work visas in the summer were able to go, like, if they worked in Poland, they were able to go across the border. Perhaps if you're a foreigner, they would let you across the border. That's what the other students are thinking. Then they would fly to Israel, since most of them are from Israel. Yeah, they're afraid. Like, one of them in our group chats, like, I think something's gonna happen really soon. Another one showed a bank near her home that had, like, really long line, but the thing is, like, most banks don't have any lines, so I guess all the people right around that bank decided they all want to go to the bank, but not every other bank. I don't know why. Like, there's no issues with the banks, at least right now. I've always expressed why it's so important to have cash. Now, a lot of people have to have cash, like other students, because if they don't have family back home, they can constantly put money into an online bank account, which they have a card here linked to. They have to bring all their money with them. Whereas I have family back home who can put money onto a bank account, and I have the card for that bank account. But I've always expressed how it's very important to bring cash with you, because you never know when your card will not work. Yeah, so other students, they're afraid, like, pretty much all, I mean, I can't speak for every student, but they mostly all want to go home. They think it's not safe. The university says Belarus is not involved in this, like, nothing's going on, there's nothing going on here, so you can't have online class, you can't go home, you have to go to school. Like, if you want to study here and get a degree, you have to go to class. You can't not go to class. And class is in person, so if you don't go in person, you don't get your degree. Now, why I am not really concerned with going home, and I have no desire to go home, I have no interest in going home, I am not looking at how to go home, that's not at all in my head at all. Like, if there was online classes, I would be with my fiance, who's 3.5 hours away, because it would give me the freedom to spend more time with her. And she's right near the Ukrainian border, actually, so if there was an emergency, that means we would come here, further away. But yeah, I'm not afraid or concerned or worried because Belarus is not involved. Even if Belarus got involved and carried out military operations in Ukraine, and Ukrainians fight back against them in Ukraine, I think it's incredibly unlikely that the Ukrainian army is going to start sending missiles to Belarus because they've got enough to deal with in Ukraine. And also, I don't think they have an interest in doing an offensive war against Russia or Belarus. Like, what would be the goal of that? Like, of course you can say the goal is, like, you inflict damage and the enemy wants to stop. But again, I think they have enough to deal with at home that they're not going to go outside of their country and attack. Because also, like, they don't want to take over Minsk. I don't know what the other students are thinking. They're like, oh, if Belarus gets involved in the fight against Ukraine, they're like, we're going to be in danger here. Like, Ukraine's not going to be sending missiles to Minsk. They're going to be fighting on their own soil. So there's one situation in which Belarus would be in danger. And because of what that situation is, unless you're in America, even better, in northern Idaho, or on some random island, you would not be much safer. Because that one situation is if there's a world war. Why is that? Because, like I said, Ukraine is not really a threat to Belarus, which means that the only situation in which Belarus would be under attack would be from NATO. If NATO attacks Belarus, and most likely Russia too, even if for some reason they only attack Belarus, that's most likely going to draw Russia into a bigger war with NATO, which in other words is called World War III. Not good. Worst case scenario, like really, people need to think a little bit before they're like, oh, NATO needs to go to Ukraine, or when Ukrainians are like, NATO needs to come help us. Like, no, NATO does not need to do anything, because no matter how bad you think things are right now, World War III would be like way worse. I really don't know how people logically work through that in their head. Like, oh, there's a military skirmish right now in Ukraine. Why don't we start World War III to fix it? Brilliant. Like, I stubbed my toe. Why don't I blow my brains out? Then I won't feel my toe. It's idiotic. So yeah, unless there's World War III, Belarus is not going to be under attack. And if there's World War III, we might all be dead, no matter where you are. Like, yes, if for some reason no one used nuclear weapons, then you'd be safe most likely if you're in mainland America, because it would mostly be in the European continent. But if nuclear weapons are involved, everyone in pretty much all of the world would be dead. So, yeah, I'll die here in Belarus versus dying back home in California. But I mean, this is my new home, so yeah, that's my home, this is my home. I'm excited for when I'm a permanent resident so I can officially call it my home here, because I like it here. So yeah, that's why I'm not worried, because in the one situation in which it would be dangerous here, it's going to be dangerous everywhere. Actually, I had a dream a few weeks back. Interesting dream. I was in Belarus, but it was California, so like, in the dream, I was in Los Angeles, or somewhere in the Los Angeles area. Like, don't ask me why, like, I never go to Los Angeles. I went there a few times for paperwork to move here. But yeah, in my dream, I was in Los Angeles, like, physically, but like, it was Belarus. And there were people that were turning Belarus into, like, California, like, in all the ways that California is different from Belarus that are not so good. Like, moral degeneration, massive inflow of immigrants. And I don't remember some of the other stuff. So yeah, I was in a gym, actually. It was a restaurant gym in the dream. And people were protesting outside. And I went outside. I don't remember why. This is a few weeks ago. Like, probably you don't even remember your stuff from your dream last night. That blows my mind, because I dream all night, every night. I can't believe some people don't dream much. But yeah, then I went outside, and no, before I went outside, there was lots of fireworks. So then I went outside, and there was a really big explosion, something like, wow, that doesn't sound like a firework, or like, that's really big, like, what's that? And I look, and at first I'm thinking, like, I mean, I wasn't really thinking. It's like, for the split second, it's like, okay, there's just a little explosion, then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's like, shit, that's a nuclear bomb. And I started to run, and then I realized, you know, where I am right here is just about as safe as over there. And my family is over here. Like, some of my cousins were with me in the dream. And I decided, you know, I'll stay with my family and possibly die here rather than possibly die over there. Also because if I survive and they survive, at least we'll be right next to each other. Whereas if we're separated and we survive, then we're separated. Always thinking. I mean, why shouldn't you always be thinking? That's idiotic not to think. Yeah, sorry, if you don't like my tangent about my dream a few weeks ago, you can, you probably already just ended the video. Probably didn't help that my fiance and I were watching at 24, the second season, where there's a nuclear bomb threat for Los Angeles. Good TV show. I watched it when I was younger, and now I'm watching it with her. So yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not leaving, even if class is online. I'm not leaving. Look, I have zero desire. I will enjoy more time with my fiance. But all the other students, they do want to get out of here because they are afraid, and they think it's dangerous, and they think there's going to be war here. Like, who knows? Maybe there will be, but then it's going to be all of Europe. I don't know. Probably is. Who knows if Israel would be involved? I'm no expert on Israel. I'd be safer in the United States, sure, but yeah, I'm not too concerned. Come to Belarus. It's a great country. You'd have a hard time getting here right now. I really don't think it's much different to come right now versus any other time, except, I mean, well, one big problem, actually. How to get out. Now, if you can go by land into Europe, fine, because then you can go anywhere else. But if the land borders are closed, and if Turkey stops accepting flights, maybe find a flight from here to Asia and then go back to the United States, like that would be not too fun, and I don't even know if there are any direct flights from here to Asia that don't stop in Russia, and if they do stop in Russia, it means you need a Russian visa, and you can't get a Russian visa, so you're stuck. I am here on a temporary residency currently, so I can cross the borders by land, but if you come, actually I think if you get a visa you can cross the borders by land, if the borders are open. So yeah, assuming the borders are closed, because they're pretty much closed, and if Turkey for any reason whatsoever stops flights from Belarus to Turkey, it's going to be very hard to go from here to anywhere. Oh yeah, this is actually a fitness and health and science channel, so if you're into any of that stuff, check out my other videos. Probably can't tell, but I'm in pretty good shape, like good enough shape that I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition.